to CBS Sports HQ, presented by Progressive Insurance.
Hello, everyone. I'm Adam Zucker. A reminder that the SEC Championship game presented by Dr. Pepper comes up at 4 Eastern between number 1 Alabama and number 4 Georgia. The championship weekend kicked off last night. A Pac-12 title on the line as Utah battled Washington, and everything bounced right for the Huskies. The only touchdown in the game came in the third quarter here on Byron Murphy's 66-yard interception return. Washington holding on for the 10-3 win, and they're headed to the Rose Bowl for the first time since 2000. There was a lot more scoring in the MAC championship game. First by Buffalo, then it was all Northern Illinois. DJ Brown's fourth quarter 35-yard touchdown catch helped the Huskies erase a 19-point second-half deficit as they held on for a 30-29 win, earning their fourth conference title. And in NFL news, the Chiefs released running back Kareem Hunt last night after video surfaced showing him shoving and kicking a woman during a February incident. The team said Hunt was, quote, not truthful in addressing the altercation at the time. After his release, Hunt said, I deeply regret what I did. For 24/7 news and highlights, visit CBSSportsHQ.com.
Instead of being pressured again, and they got him. Touchdown. What a play by the Tennessee defense.
It's intercepted for the game. Oh, my. Travion Williams up and over, and the Aggies win in overtime. Wow.
And intercepted. Tigers have it. And the defense answers the bell. Conrad, touchdown. Kentucky. Victory. Kentucky.
The Dogs will take the SEC Eastern Division Championships for the second year in a row.
And the Crimson Tide has once again ascended to the top of the college football mountain.
Recent history has shown us that Atlanta has been a crucial stop in the process of determining the national champion. And today's game is exactly that, a rematch of last year's thrilling national championship in the very same place for the right to play for this year's crown. For number 1 Alabama, winning the SEC championship is always nice, but anything less than that 18th national title would be a disappointment. Defending SEC champ Georgia returns here, seeking revenge for last year's loss to the Tide. Which of these teams that are so responsible for writing the history of this conference will walk away today as SEC champion and earn a shot at the national title? Hello, everyone. I'm Adam Zucker. Welcome to the Drive to Atlanta, presented by Mercedes-Benz. Coming up in about 90 minutes, it's the SEC Championship game on CBS, presented by Dr. Pepper. Number 1 Alabama against number 4 Georgia, as I'm joined by my season-long friends Rick Neuheisel and Brian Jones, and this all feels very familiar.
It does. When you enter the baggage claim at Palm Beach International Airport, a voice on the PA system says, welcome to the best of everything. Well, we have the 2 best teams in the best conference, and if it's anything like the last time they hooked up, it could encompass the best of everything.
As Ed Sullivan used to say, we have a really big show for you. Listen, in every team room across the country, there is a sign prominently displayed, win your conference championship.
Right.
That's only at the second level for these two programs. There's something a little loftier that they aspire to get, and Georgia can only get there by beating the Tide today.
And it is the only conference championship game where you know both teams would be in with a win, and the loser might have a shot as well. Last year, in this game, Alabama sat on the sidelines. They were at home, wondering if they would get the opportunity to play in the college football playoff. That's not the case this year. The Tide get to play their way in this time, and they will be led by the wonderkin of college football, my new favorite word, quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, who returns to this very stage where the young legend was created.
Yeah, he burst onto the scene a year ago, and he has been eye-popping this season. The numbers speak for themselves, fellas. This guy has been brilliant in every sense of the word. He's got charisma. He's got character. You can see the numbers right here for yourself. 36 touchdown passes, just 2 interceptions. It is going to be a tall order, Brian, for them to try to corral this offense.
Yeah, those list of superlatives, just check all the above for Tua Tagovailoa. The key for the Georgia defense, though, is to make sure Tua can't catch up to his body's intentions. The defense has regressed in a couple areas this season. Of course, you expect that losing 8 players on that side of the ball. 93 tackles were lost a year ago. 52 this year, 34 sacks last year, only 20 coming into this ball game. They're going to have to find a way to apply some pressure and break Tua's rhythm.
And Mike Locksley, their offensive coordinator, he's got so many weapons at his disposal. If you want to play a lot of coverage, let me give it to the running backs. Harris 1 or Harris 2, or throw in Josh Jacobs as well. All 3 of these guys have been fantastic. Of course, Damian Harris, 2,000-yard seasons before this one. He's a little off that number because he's sharing the ball, but they can flat run the ball.
And they can wear a defense down.
Yeah, and put it all together, they're second in the country with 49 points a game. For Georgia, their quarterback, Jake Fromm, also returns to the field that he came up just short on in the national championship game. He dealt with some inconsistency earlier this year, but really seems to have overcome it down the stretch here, Rick.
The epitome of efficiency. I mean, he's surgeon-like. 9 times this year, over 70% passer. Very much in lockstep with Jim Chaney, the offensive coordinator, knows exactly where to go with the ball, and it's beautiful in the red zone, finding his big targets. They also have an X factor in this game. Remember, we didn't know Tagovailoa very much until this game. How about this young man, Justin Fields, the top recruit in the land. He's brilliant as a runner, close to 7 yards a carry. He's also a 71% passer on the season. Let's see what role he plays today.
Yeah, that's right. They may roll in a little option like Siddle did a week ago. But you know what? You're a bad dog until you run up on a whole pack of them. And Bama has a whole pack of them. Little discipline issues, Simon issues when you're taking on the triple option. Of course, they gave up 275 on the ground versus the Citadel, but they shut them down in the second half. Alabama knows how to adjust with the best, and they have the best on that defensive side of the ball.
And Georgia would be able to run the ball with success no matter what formation they do. And we're going to talk about Georgia's Thunder and Lightning running back combo of Elijah Holyfield and DeAndre Swift a little bit later. But let's get you caught up on what's going on elsewhere around the country. And in the Big 12 championship, Oklahoma, they need a win. They need Alabama to win later. And Oklahoma, they were down 14-6 on the Longhorns.
Yeah, 21 straight by Oklahoma. Trey Sermon there in for the 6-yard touchdown. Then all day long for Sam Ellinger. And he's going to find Colin Johnson back in the end zone, tiptoeing for the touchdown, and the Longhorns are trying to mount a comeback.
I deserve hazard pay sitting next to him watching this game.
We'll keep an eye on that one. When we return, Nick Saban and his quarterback talk about the night that Tua became a household name.
The Drive to Atlanta, presented by Mercedes-Benz, is sponsored by Garmin. Get a Garmin smartwatch and beat yesterday. Just for men. Be the better man and look the part. And by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
Ever since his coming out party in the second half of the national championship game, Tua Tagovailoa, his name rolls off your tongue now, has been the absolute epicenter of college football. Welcome back. Back in January, trailing at halftime and with a championship on the line, Nick Saban had a decision to make. Stick with Jalen Hurts, the quarterback who got Bama to that game, or gamble and switch to his little-used backup named Tua to jumpstart the Tide. This is a look into how that decision was made, and the rest became history.
Jalen has done a lot of running for his life here tonight.
I got the 2 quarterbacks together and I said, look, we wouldn't be here, Jalen, if it wasn't for you. But we're going to start Tua in the second half and just see if that brings us a little spark, because I think our team needs it. And I think he showed great maturity in being able to handle that.
Coach came up to me. He told me, you're going to start the second half. I was like, okay, this is my opportunity. He had to have made that decision knowing that this could be really good or this could be really bad. If this decision goes wrong, this is on me. This is going to be something that I'm going to have to live with.
Eli, it's going to be Tua Tagovailoa. The freshman from Eva Beach, Hawaii, is the quarterback for Alabama.
Took him a little while to get going. But I do think we gained momentum with him in the first scoring drive to get the game to, I think, 13-7. And then Georgia scored again and made it 20-7. And then we threw the interception, which he should have never thrown.
Tua rolls to his left. Tua hit as he throws. It's intercepted at the 40-yard line by the Georgia Bulldogs.
Just because you made a mistake, we're not going to yank you. So go out there and play, and let's see how you respond to something bad that happened, because this is something all players and good competitors have to be able to do. They have to be able to overcome adversity.
Here's Tua. He looks, stands in. Everybody's covered. He'll throw to the left side. Caught. Touchdown, Alabama!
But this game was a little bit of a metaphor of life, as our season was, in terms of the perseverance when things don't always go exactly like you'd like.
Tua fakes the throw. Tua stands in. Tua escapes. Tua tries to get away further. Tua cannot get any further, and he's down all the way back at the 42-yard line.
Taking a sack in overtime when basically you know you need a field goal to stay in the game, to be able to tie the game. It's a cardinal rule not to take a sack in that situation in the game.
I never really thought of Coach Saban yelling. Never really thought of the fans thinking like, oh my gosh, why did he take the sack? I got up and I was thinking, we got 2 more downs to get close to the first down. I clapped, took my drop, and I took a 5-step drop instead of a 3-step drop just to time it out to hold the safety coming over. That too was a split-second decision because I looked at Smitty for about a good second, but like my arm was going already. It's like I premeditated the read.
Touchdown, Alabama! The Crimson Tide has once again ascended to the top of the college football mountain.
Winning a game is good, but rewarding yourself with the championship is amazing.
I don't remember any time that I've gone as low after one particular play and then 1 minute later get elevated to new heights. We go into the locker room afterwards, and I'm obviously, as a coach, always coaching. So I tell Tua, I says, you know, you got to learn now. You can never take a sack, you know, in that situation. And he said, Coach, we just needed more room to throw the ball. And I said, that's not funny.
Not funny, but Coach, you're laughing. And as the late Yogi Berra would say, it's deja vu all over again on this very field against the team he performed those heroics against, Rick.
I remember at halftime worrying for Brian Daboll's job. I mean, they were so stuck in the mud offensively, and they went warp speed in that second half, throwing 23 second-half passes and an overtime pass, which obviously was the difference. And how about those freshmen, Brian?
Well, what Yogi said is correct. What we say in my hood is, mama, there go that man again. and Tua's outstanding. He has fully activated this Bama offense.
And that was the only close game he's been in to date. And we're hoping for a close one here today. You know that they're also going to be playing a big game here about 9 weeks from now. More on that one when we return.
Catch the Dr. Pepper tuition giveaway during halftime of the SEC Championship presented by Dr. Pepper. Today on CBS.
48-yarder on the way. No good. Army has won it.
National curiosity about the Super Bowl may be high, with a team from Wisconsin meeting one from Missouri.
Hi, I'm Jack Buck. Hope you enjoy the Super Bowl from New Orleans here on CBS.
The Super Bowl number 6 Super Bowl lane. And 10 years of Super Bowls are about to begin. Super Bowls didn't happen overnight.
I'm Pat Summerall with Tom Brookshire. Here's Marcus Allen.
Just win, baby.
Super Bowl number 21.
This is as good as it gets. Doesn't get any better than this.
Welcome to the Super Bowl. JV along with Tony, Coach, Bart, and Boomer.
Back live now with the most valuable player, Terry Bradshaw.
We here at CBS Sports are pleased to welcome you to Super Bowl 35.
The Super Bowl MVP
once again, it's Tom Brady.
Super Bowl 41.
Who is going to hoist the trophy?
CBS, we were there for the first and honored to be here for the 50th.
Epic. 9 weeks from now, the best of the best in the NFL will be coming out of those tunnels to play for a Super Bowl championship in a little over an hour. The best of the best in the SEC will storm the field for a shot at an SEC title and the right to play for a national championship. A man who did it in the SEC championship game back in 2012, former Georgia quarterback Aaron Murray, the conference's all-time leading passer, with us today as our eyes and ears down on the field. Aaron, how's it going down there?
I tell you what, Adam, it is electric. I know we're dry inside right now, but it's raining out here in Atlanta, so a lot of fans decided to get in here a little bit early. Gates open at 1:30. I tell you what, you can feel the energy. The fans, the players just got on the field right now, do their initial pregame warm-ups. It was interesting. I was talking to Calvin Ridley earlier in this week, a kid who's played in this game. He's played in the national championship in this stadium and then now plays for the Falcons. I said, hey, what's the difference? What's the feeling playing in the NFL here for the Falcons? What's the difference playing for Alabama in the big game? He said it just means more. The fans, the electricity, the energy in the locker room. I tell you what, you feel it right now. It's going to be a heck of a ball game.
Aaron, you played in this environment, and routines are so important to play at your highest level. Do you have any recollections of how you went about kind of calming yourself so that you could be at your best?
I would just tell Bobo, just give me a hit. Just get me knocked out. Hey, first play, let me run. Let me get out of my system a little bit. But no, you just got to relax. You got to trust the process. You got to trust your teammates. And hey, listen, you're here for a reason at the end of the day. You are one of the best teams in the SEC, and you just got to have confidence. And right now, I think both teams are coming in with a lot of confidence. It's going to be interesting to see who has more coming into this ball game.
Aaron, they can talk about eliminating the revenge factor all they want. We know it's on their mind. Have you been able to ascertain from your Bulldogs how they've tempered their anxiousness to get out there and flip the script and knock off Bama, unlike in the national title game?
Well, I think the key is right now, this is a brand new football team. Yes, there was a lot of guys that played Alabama last year in the national championship, but a lot of them left. They went on to the NFL. They graduated. But those guys who are here, those guys who felt that opportunity to win the big one, to beat Alabama, I think it gave them confidence. We talk about you walk into a stadium, and a lot of times you look over there, you see Alabama, you see that A on the helmet. It can kind of intimidate you a little bit. But I tell you what, these guys are not scared. They're not intimidated. They're confident. And I think they're going to go out there and put on a great football game.
Georgia has been fantastic with their rushing attack. Do you see them using that today to kind of keep Alabama on the sideline, helping their defense control that explosive offense?
I think so. I think the key for Georgia is slow the football game down. I think you got to. Tua and that offense are too explosive. So the best way to stop them, stay on the field, run the football, eat up the clock. You saw it with Citadel in the first half. 5-minute drive, 6-minute drive, 7-minute drive. Keep this game close, shorten it down. And I think defensively what you got to do is you got to keep everything in front of you. You know, this offense for Alabama is too good not to score, but if they're going to do it, make it a 10-play drive, make it a 12-play drive, and then make this a 4-quarter game, and then let's see if special teams can win it at the end of the day.
All right, Aaron Murray, good stuff. Go sign some autographs, and we're going to be checking with that Georgia legend throughout the day. When we return, we remember a legend we lost this past May who led the SEC to new heights. In May, the SEC in college athletics lost a leader and a visionary when Mike Slive, one of the catalysts of the college football playoff and the force behind propelling the SEC into an elite conference, passed away. We had the opportunity to ask the conference's football coaches what they remembered best of the longtime commissioner.
I really do believe that Mike Slive was probably one of the best leaders that I've ever been associated with. I think being a commissioner in our conference where you have a lot of highly touted coaches and to be able to manage and control and have the respect that he had of that group of people. On many occasions, he changed how I thought about things because of the perspective that he brought. And I think that's pretty compelling.
When I think of Commissioner Slide, just his professionalism, the type of person he was, and he had that unique ability as a leader to bring everybody together. Because in our league, there's a lot of strong personalities in the football room. And I remember, we played the national championship game, and we came up a little bit short at the end. And, he could have been that person that was disappointed, but he patted me on the back and just said he's proud of me, and that really stood out to me to this day.
I remember after the first year at Ole Miss, I struggled. I think we went 3-8. And he keeps spending about an hour with me and talked about hanging in there, talking about perseverance, talking about, hey, this is the SEC. We're behind you. If I can do anything to help you, I will.
He had a great way of educating you, and it was his job maybe to call and reprimand me in something that I'd done. I'll be honest with you, I think it was complaining about officials in one way or something else. He would take that and not just use it as a reprimand, but also use everything that he did, and he'd call you and say, let's evaluate that, and is that the best way you're going to build your career? And how can you better yourself in learning from this situation?
My first meeting with Mike Slide, to even know who he was 2003. I'm an LSU assistant coach. I've just been hired from being a graduate assistant. So in the SEC, you have to go do orientation. So orientation's done in Birmingham, and I'll never forget the first meeting. I'm sitting there. There's about 10 other new coaches in the SEC, and he walks in, says, I'm Mike Slide, commissioner of the SEC, and I want every one of you to know, if any one of you makes an illegal phone call, I hope you never coach again the rest of your career. And it was the most intimidating experience of my life. I was like, okay, he just opened the meeting with that.
He was an exceptional man. His legacy will live, for generations to come because he changed the landscape of the SEC. He got it together. He helped this group really solidify itself and moved it forward with the idea of the SEC network and who we are and where we are today. So a lot of where we are today is attributed to Commissioner Slide. He'll be missed.
And with that smile, there was also that stern presence that had to be in that room with legends and characters like Nick Saban, Phil Fulmer, Steve Spurrier, our own Houston Nutt, and the list goes on.
Listen, the guy was both compassionate and brilliant. I mean, he really understood timing, when to be stern, when to be tough, and then when to put his arm on your shoulder. We're going to miss him.
Yeah, I was in that room as Adams was conducting those interviews with various coaches, and the effusive praise that they heaped upon him, it was as palpable as is the energy in this building today. A stern visionary of a man who led with a smile on his face.
Yeah, and before we had the playoff, he was asking for that +1 to get us to 4 teams. Last night, another SEC legend, Archie Manning, receiving the Mike Slide Distinguished Service Award at the SEC Legends Dinner from Greg Sankey. And Archie, of course, the most successful football father of all time, and so much service with the National Football Foundation.
He's accomplished a few things in his career.
Just a little bit, yeah.
And of course, we are getting set for the SEC Championship here in Atlanta on CBS. Time to step aside for a moment as we move closer to the SEC Championship game. Stay with us for State Farm College Football Today after this word from your local station.
And the Crimson Tide has once again ascended to the top of the college football mountain.
Coming into this game, everything's going to be different. It's not going to be the same as last year.
Tua Tagovailoa, thank you very much.
To get back in that stadium, have a different feeling coming off the field would definitely be a lot better this time.
Touchdown, Georgia!
I know they got a chip on their shoulder for us beating them last year.
I mean, we played a good game, but we came up short. But, we're working hard this year to finish stronger than last year.
Touchdown! Yes, indeed! Oh, that was too easy!
It's a dogfight, and we're ready for it. We expect that. We want it.
Bama's defense just unrelenting.
Really do or die now. Atlanta, here we come. Atlanta, here we come.
Let's do it again.
His way all the way. Touchdown.
You got to be ready for it, but how do you stop it?
Fires. And there he goes. Touchdown.
Well, this is how legends are made.
Crimson Tide have a history and pedigree like none other. 26 SEC titles, 17 national championships. Today's game is a gateway to add to the folklore that is Alabama. Meanwhile, Georgia's history is nothing to take for granted. The defending SEC champs are seeking their 14th conference title, one that would deliver the sweetest of blows to their bitter Crimson rival, who stole last year's national championship the Dogs thought was theirs on this very field. Kickoff for number 1 Alabama and number 4 Georgia is a little over an hour away. Hello, everybody. I'm Adam Zucker, and welcome to State Farm College Football. Today, we are getting set for the SEC Championship here in just over an hour. This game will go a long way to determining who the 4 teams are in the college football playoff, and there's another one going on right now. The Big 12 Championship game is in the 4th quarter, and it is tied at 27. The Longhorns, they were down 27-14. Were able to tie it, but they missed an extra point.
Kickers
to go. And so, Oklahoma sitting in the 5 spot. The Sooners obviously need to win and avenge their only loss, and they're going to need some help as this day goes on, guys.
We came in today knowing it was a beauty contest. Ohio State and Oklahoma were going to try to put on their best wares so that everybody could see what a talented football team they were. The way to do that is to win, though. And right now, it's dicey now in Dallas.
First things first, win the ball game. That's the key, and then you can concern yourself with style points. But we also knew that Texas would be a more formidable foe, at least we think so, than Northwestern would be for Ohio State. So if Oklahoma wins, which this Longhorn hopes they don't, it's going to be a huge feather in their cap, and I think they get in the playoff.
And Georgia's also trying to look pretty for that committee because they want a spot in that Final Four as well.
Hey, 4, 5, and 6 could all lose today, and then the committee has a very interesting job. All right, with more on the Tide and Bulldogs, let's go to Jamie Erdahl for a tailgate report presented by Smile Direct Club.
We've heard from several Georgia players and coaches. They don't want to make this game about revenge. It's a different season, a new team. But even if you lose one game of tic-tac-toe, you always want to come back and win one for yourself. That's just human nature. Georgia, this game could be more about proof for them. They've already proved that they can jump ahead on Alabama in last year's national championship. But how do they prove that they can close it out and show the SEC and college football that they can get the job done? Coach, we've heard from a lot of your players. They don't want to make this one about revenge. So what has the messaging been like for you coaching through this week?
Well, it's been simple. SEC championship opportunity, 2 really good teams battling it out, and you don't get many opportunities at games like this.
Jake Fromm said this team is playing the right way at the right time, and you could say that about his play in particular, too. How do you put him in the best positions today?
Well, we got to keep him out of 3rd and longs. He's been keeping things kind of on schedule. When he does that, we're a really good team, so we got to keep him on schedule.
Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
This game is just another building block between the Georgia and Alabama football rivalry. It will be fierce. It will be bitter. But one thing is for sure, everyone will be smiling because we will be indoors on this rainy day in Atlanta. 4 o'clock kickoff on CBS coming your way.
Cute stuff. Only one side's going to be smiling when it's over, though. We're going to take a closer look at Georgia's backfield 1-2 punch when we return. You are watching State Farm College Football Today on CBS. Georgia is the defending SEC champion, and their mission has been to end the Tide's title reign and to get that CFP crown they came so close to winning last year. A recap of Georgia's season presented by the Home Depot.
They throw it to the left side, off the hands. This time it is picked off the tip. Pick 6, Georgia. Touchdown, Bulldogs. Brown floats one to the corner. Holloman, touchdown. Rob throws it for the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Terry Godwin. Yes, indeed. The Dogs have made it 2 in a row as they start thinking about Kentucky next week. DeAndre. Oh, wow. Made a man miss at the 20. Touchdown and a brilliant run. DeAndre Swift breaks it. Okay, touchdown.
Glory, glory. The Dogs will play for the SEC title.
And they'll play for that title against Tua Tagovailoa as we welcome you back to State Farm College Football today. Weapons on both sides as we are getting closer to kickoff, just over an hour until kickoff here at the SEC Championship game. Hey, how about that tandem in the Georgia backfield? The running backs, Elijah Holyfield. He knows a thing or two about legacy as the son of former heavyweight champion Evander Holyfield. And DeAndre Swift knows how to compete, rushing for 100 yards in 4 of the last 5 games. Together, they are writing another chapter to the fabled history of Georgia's Rock'em Sock'em backfield.
Herschel Walker 5, 10, 12, he ran over him. There he goes. Herschel's gone.
Gurley breaks the tackle, breaks it up. And Sony's got an opening, and when he gets an opening, he can do this. 8, 7, 5, 2, 1, touchdown, baby!
I think a lot of schools claim to have different specialties.
He's got a crease. Nick Chubb, eyes on the end zone.
But the University of Georgia is undoubtedly the running back university.
Marino, he's got some room. What a cut, touchdown, Georgia.
The amount of players who have played in the NFL and college football, RBU, is UGA running backs.
Georgia has a plethora of talent on the offensive side of the ball. Not one, but 2 of their running backs.
It's got to go back to the ground and pound. I know they don't have Chubbs and Michelle, but they have 2 guys that can do it in Swift and Holyfield.
At one point, the guys before us, everybody was still talking about them, and we said to ourselves that, we want to be our own people and we want to make our names known as well. So we just, put a lot of work in the offseason, and it's all paying off now.
Elijah Holyfield dragging tacklers with him. Elijah Holyfield, a stiff arm, heading to the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia.
Elijah's style is rugged. I want to run you over. I don't want to run around you. I don't want to fake you out. I want to try to run through your face mask.
There he goes. 30, 20, 15, 10, touchdown. Swift done it again.
DeAndre has one-step quickness. He's extremely elusive. He's great out of the backfield. He can catch the ball, and he has track speed where if he breaks, he can outrun people.
And a brilliant run.
Together, they're thunder and lightning.
2 of the best backs in the country, and they're on the same team.
We compete every day in practice. That bring the best out of us. So when it comes Saturday, it's like second nature to us. We try to make practice harder than the game.
How about Elijah Holyfield? He bided his time behind Sony Michel and Nick Chubb. Now he's leading them in the rushing department.
I definitely had a great example with Nick and Sony. The way they pushed each other, the same way that me and DeAndre pushed each other. We're very competitive people, so when he does something, I want to do something. And when I do something, he wants to. So we're always pushing each other to be the best.
Great running backs, a 1-2 punch.
2 very talented running backs. They power this Georgia team.
I'm in the SEC, so you definitely need more than one back. When you have someone else to take the load off, you make things a lot easier.
Players are bigger, faster, stronger. So if one guy's carrying it 25 times, he's getting hit by bigger, faster, stronger people 25 times.
Defenses don't like it as much because it's not just one style of running back you have to deal with. You have to deal with 2 completely different backs. There's really no let off with whoever comes in, so it causes havoc for the defenses.
The Dogs, for the 2nd year in a row, will head back to the SEC title game.
I just look forward to helping my team win in any way possible. This is the part of the season where names get remembered. I just want to have my name go down and be remembered.
We say around here that pressure is a privilege. So when you come to the University of Georgia, you expect to have that kind of pressure on you to go out and perform.
Running back University is Georgia. So if you're running back for Georgia, you're going to be expected to hold to the standard of running backs that came before you. So when I lead this place, whenever I do, I just want to be named as one of the greatest, just like them.
And Herschel Walker, the #1 college running back of all time in a recent show we did here on CBS. How about the way the Dogs replaced last year's tandem with this year's tandem? Can they chisel away at that Tide defense? Let's go down to a guy who appreciates good running backs, our quarterback, Aaron Murray.
It makes your job a lot easier as a quarterback when you got 2 studs behind you. I love it. Stay healthy. Both those guys have the ability not only just to get those nitty-gritty 3 or 4 yards, but they can take it the distance. I love Swift. He gets into a line of scrimmage. He bounces it to the outside. And you see it over and over again, those 60, 70-yard touchdowns. And the key is, guys, keep Tua off the field. That's going to be the key. And you know how you do that? You run the football. You eat up the clock. Keep number 13 far, far away from that football.
Yeah, Aaron, it's too bad you didn't have a good running back when you were in school, huh?
No, man, I wish Todd Gurley was just a little, not NFL MVP and all, but.
And, of course, Georgia's had great running backs, and so has Alabama, and one of them is here today to root on his alma mater. Former Heisman winner Mark Ingram's going to be rooting for the guys wearing the white unis today.
Part
part of football is strategy, right? The X's and O's. And part of football is exerting your will. The Georgia running game does both. It's a thing of beauty.
Well, part of the process for both of these teams is learning how to share. And if you look at this tandem for Georgia, they're both equally fed. They're averaging about 11 carries per game, and they complement each other to a T.
Indeed. And we'll see who's able to win that line of scrimmage today as Georgia and Alabama about an hour away. More on our game shortly. George H.W. Bush, the 41st president of the United States, died Friday at age 94. A lifelong baseball fan, he played in the first 2 College World Series with Yale. He is also credited as the first president to throw a ceremonial first pitch ahead of a major league game from the pitcher's mound. And he continued to take the field despite being confined to a wheelchair late in life. In Houston in 2017, he conducted the ceremonial coin toss for Super Bowl 51 and later joined his son, George W. Bush, our 43rd president, in a pitch before Game 5 of the World Series. We pay our respects to President Bush and send our sympathies to his family.
So how do you measure a great coach? Is it one who changes history? It could be wins and losses or the size of his coaching tree. Now, if you're Nick Saban, you're the biggest tree of all. But watch out for your branches as they try to make you fall. 6 of Nick's sticks have attempted to take him down. But he's a Sequoia dendron giganteum, the biggest tree around. Coaches McElwain and Dooley are both 0-3. And for D'Antonio, Muschamp, and Fisher, it has never come to be. Then there's Kirby Smart, who's always had his back, but on the largest stage in OT, proved he too is no lumberjack. And now he's back again, regardless of the facts. Hopefully, Kirby's ready, and he's bringing his new axe. So just how good is Nick? Let's compare him to Billy B. Sure, Nick had some great throwers, but none like Tom Brady. But when facing his assistants, we now know Nick's the king. Billy B's a great one, but his branches don't kiss his ring. Now, before anyone yells, timber, we all know this. Alabama versus Georgia is a game not to miss.
Oh, that is tremendous.
That's a big axe.
You don't have that axe any longer, do you?
No, I don't need it today.
You've been working out. But hey, Kirby Smart's the closest any of the assistants have come to getting that first win against.
He taught them everything they know, just not everything he knows.
Right, exactly. We refer to both of these teams as the twins because that process has moved the short way down the highway to Athens.
Indeed. Only thing louder than shopping is the noise of 70,000 plus of our closest friends filing in here as we get set for kickoff. Let's now go to the booth and bring in 2 more animated guys, Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson, who will call today's game. Hey, Brad, you know a lot of Georgia fans. Are they getting sick of Alabama winning in Atlanta? It's 11 straight they've won, including that natty against Georgia last year.
Yeah, you know, Alabama's owned this stadium and the one that they blew up, the Georgia Dome. So they're pretty happy when they come here, whether it's preseason games, postseason games. It really doesn't bother them. But, you know, just across the street back in middle of July, Gary, we got together at the SEC meetings, and everybody said, you know, the favorites should be Alabama and Georgia. And the media, whoever they aren't always right. They were right this time. They're right this time. And we get them 11 months after the national championship.
That's odd. You're right. That's odd.
Gary,
you know, as you've go ahead, guys.
I'm sorry.
Gary, you've looked at the film. You've seen Tua. You know that Georgia doesn't have a dominant pass rush this year. How do you defend him?
Rick, it's not an easy answer. I think, number one, you have to be able to not let Alabama be Alabama with their run game. You're going to have to. Roquan Smith last year in the football game, sideline to sideline, was making plays and earned that draft pick with the Bears. Who's going to step into that spot? Because if Bama's able to hit you with the running game and the passing game, I don't think anybody can. I think Georgia's, formula is keep the ball in front of them. They're one of the best in the country at that. They've only given up 19 big pass plays. That has to be it, but Tua's unconscious. He has no conscience. He loves to throw the ball deep, and I expect him to do it in this game.
Kirby Smart told us yesterday, they can do it in so many ways, but they take the path of least resistance with this guy. Why run it 9 plays when you can go 3 plays and score a touchdown. That's what they've been doing a lot of.
That's why it's such a more foreboding task for anyone that takes on Bama now, because Tua's fully activated this offense. Stand on that defensive side for Georgia, though, Gary. What stands out about their play since that LSU loss? Mel Tucker, he's done a wonderful job getting these guys up to snuff to take on everyone else since that loss.
I think you're right, Brian. They have really settled down, I think. You know, in the secondary, they were a little bit young. They've settled down at corner. I think, you know, DeAndre Baker is a stopper on one side, but they just have seemed to me has found their confidence and said, we don't have to make a play every time. It's good enough to play the thing in front of us and come up and make the tackle. I think at the beginning of the year, Ness, they were all trying to be the stars that left the team instead of just who they were.
Exactly, and now they've become those stars. You know, they're not freshmen and sophomores anymore. They've grown up over the course of 12 games, and I think they're better.
Hey, guys, we've grown up, too. We're here with you now. We're looking forward to it. We'll see you in about 40 minutes or so, and have a great call. We appreciate it. All right, it is now time for these guys' picks in the conference championship games that are coming up later, and Rick, with a 5-game lead, has assured himself of winning the 2018 crown as we hit our Saturday spotlights presented by
days like this.
Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, by the way, coming up right outside our section. Starting with the ACC championship game, number 2 Clemson battling Pittsburgh tonight in Charlotte. Tigers are 12-0, seeking their 4th straight conference title as well as a 4th straight playoff berth. Meanwhile, the Panthers were an impressive 6-2 in conference play. While winning the Coastal Division, they can draw inspiration from their stunning upset the last time these two met in 2016, Rick.
Clemson went for over 700 yards the last time they played, but they gave up over 500 yards passing to Jake Bentley of South Carolina. The bad news for Pitt, they don't pass. Quadre Ollison has been the leader. He's an 1,100-yard plus back. It's the wrong formula. It's all Clemson tonight.
Yeah, Pittsburgh didn't like that Miami defense. They will not like Clemson's defense at all. Clemson win.
All right. Meanwhile, tonight, the Big Ten championship game between number 21 Northwestern and number 6 Ohio State in Indy. It'll be difficult for the Buckeyes to send a louder statement to the playoff committee than last week's demolition of Michigan. But after missing out last year as a 2-loss conference champ, Urban Meyer's team's in a position to play its way into the top 4. Meanwhile, since nearly knocking off the Wolverines back in week 4, the Wildcats have reeled off 7 straight Big Ten wins, 3 of them coming against ranked opponents, BJ.
Yeah, how about the Buckeyes a week ago, going up against the number 1 defense in the land? They had their most points on the season, their most yards per play, and the fewest plays on the season. Ohio State will win this, but Northwestern will not be afraid. They'll come to play.
The question for the Buckeyes is how much to step on the gas watching Oklahoma.
Yeah, they got to really check their emotions throughout the day as they watch the Big 12 championship, the SEC championship. Ohio State fans with rooting interests all day long as we approach 48 minutes to kick off. When we return, will Tua have to go all 4 today? A unique look at his lack of fourth quarter playing time this season.
Catch the Dr. Pepper tuition giveaway during halftime of the SEC Championship presented by Dr. Pepper. Today on CBS.
Expectations have been high for Roll Tide to reclaim its SEC title and to defend the national championship. Moments from Alabama's perfect season, presented by Chick-fil-A.
Looks left, loads up, end zone. Devontae Smith dives, touchdown, Alabama. He is set. Game is over. It ends with another sack.
Tagovailoa flushed out of the pocket. He'll run with it. He's got the first down and more. Touchdown, Alabama. Look out, Joe Burrow. Down he goes at the goal line, courtesy of Quinnen Williams. Give me a hug, coach. A little love for the West champs. Pump fake one way, long ball the other. Touchdown. A perfect regular season for Alabama. 8-0 in the conference. We're heading to Atlanta.
Alabama hasn't played in a close game since their last time here in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Welcome back to State Farm College Football today. We are getting closer to kickoff, about 45 minutes away. Now let's go to Jamie Erdahl, who caught up with Nick Saban earlier.
Coach, Coach, your teams, your program, they've been on big stages and big games before. But for this group in particular, what's their mood and attitude like coming into today?
Well, I think the most important thing is that, you want the guys to have emotion, but you also want them to focus on the simple things, blocking, tackling, executing, not making mental errors, not having negative plays. And I think everybody just got to stay within themselves and execute.
You yourself have said Jake DeFrom has really come into his own at the quarterback position for Georgia. How have you really prepared for his attack?
Well, they've got really good skilled people. They run the ball. They've got great balance, and he does a great job of getting them in the right play and executing. So it's going to be important for everybody on defense to do their job and do it well.
Coach, thank you.
All right, thank you.
And guys, if anything, what was Nick Saban worried about the most preparing for this game?
Well, I don't think he has to worry about much. I heard someone say trying to be perfect is a toxic journey. Well, Nick Saban makes it old hat, and he does this each and every year.
I couldn't agree more. Been there, done that. I mean, the college football playoff is on his schedule card. It's just one of the things that he does. He just keeps checking things off. He is an unbelievably organized guy.
And some say it's on his scheduling card, win or lose, here in the SEC championship game today. And he's all smiles right now. All right, we are approaching the fourth quarter of our pregame show today. So much like Tua, Rick, BJ, you guys want, you can just sit out the final 15 minutes.
Why not?
Yeah.
Pick our feet up, watch some football.
There's some good food around. All right, but you're going to stay, right?
We're staying.
Okay. All right, well, excluding the game against LSU, this piece is actually longer than Tua's fourth quarter playing time.
And now, 1 minute on Tua Tagovailoa's fourth quarters. It's been said that everyone will get their 15 minutes of fame. This year, the most famous player in college football made his name by not playing the last 15 minutes of the game. For Alabama's starting quarterback, the last quarter is time to relax, sit back, chill. Tua's only played in 2 fourth quarters all year and only has 3 attempts. That ranks 296th in the FBS.
Touchdown!
You think those numbers will get you a trophy in New York next weekend? Turns out they probably will. With this team and the 3 quarters that they all play before the final frame. And after Tua comes out, he'll still hurt you. But besides, even if he doesn't take a snap in the fourth quarter today, Georgia knows better than anyone he doesn't need the final 15 minutes for fame.
Yes, and there are the numbers. Focus on those first 3 quarters. Heisman Trophy voters don't need to divvy it up. We're expecting a visit from him in studio next week during Army-Navy.
He's got what I call the cha-cha, character and charisma. He has been unbelievable the entire season.
Well, those numbers are an indication of his and this team's dominance. I mean, it's just amazing. 20-plus margin of victory in every game this season. Outstanding, superb. You just empty the dictionary with the superlatives to try to describe this team and Tua.
Amazing processing speed, sees his guys before they're actually open. He can see it all coming. The players are out on the field now. Things are picking up here in Atlanta. Number 1 Alabama and number 4 Georgia, about 40 minutes away. You are watching State Farm College Football today on CBS. And welcome back to State Farm College Football today as we approach kickoff in the SEC Championship, under 40 minutes away from things getting going here in Atlanta. All right, do you want your sports news and highlights straight without the noise? Stream CBS Sports HQ, the all-new 24/7 Sports News Network. Available on your phone, computer, and connected TV devices. CBS Sports HQ Sports for true fans. All right, let's now take a look at some of the key players today as the teams are warming up right behind us live in our eye test. And we start with the West Division and defending national champ, number 1 Alabama, Rick.
Well, how about their chief, Nick Saban? Simply the best. I mean, this guy's undefeated against all his former assistants. We just went through that. He's got 6 national championships, trying to get a 7th. And until Les Miles and Mac Brown came in, that was more than everybody else combined.
Yeah, this program was already at a 10. Tua's taking it to a 12. I love what his former teammates like Mika Fitzpatrick had to say about it. Said practice every day against the scout team. He was making some throws. We were like, this dude is nice.
Damian Harris, he's looking for some action today, 6 yards per, sharing with his other guys in that front, and also this quartet of wide receivers led by Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy this year, 19.3 per catch, 1,000-yard receiver. His teammate, Henry Ruggs, who caught a touchdown last year in the championship game, he's at 17.3, and he's got 10 touchdown catches. And Devontae Smith, the young man who went out of his way to
Well, he got injured.
Burst onto the scene last year in this particular building.
And they're all interchangeable. That's what you love about them. They are exceptional route runners. Josh Gaddis, who came over from Penn State, the wide receiver coach, has just done an unbelievable job coaching these cats up. And Smith gets hurt. Who do they plug in? A true freshman, Jalen Waddle, and they don't skip a beat. And Tua always hits these guys in stride. It's amazing. You go to that defense, man. I mean, they are as advertised as they've ever been throughout this run by Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide. We may have forgotten about a few of them early in the season when Tua was doing his thing, but how about this cat?
Oh, my.
Quentin Williams. Wasn't even on the radar at the beginning of the season. The guy's come from a backup and an unknown to maybe a top 10 prospect at the NFL level. His buddy on that D-line, Raekwon Davis, he goes about 6'7", 308. He'll smack you in the mouth. He's got that length with those
He will,
arms.
actually.
Yeah, he will.
We learned in this building a year ago, they're not afraid to play freshmen. This kid, Patrick Surtain, was one of the top recruits. His teammate on the same high school is a freshman playing on the other side, Tyson Campbell. And Savion Smith, he's the new guy who takes pick sixes, right? He's got 3 picks this year, 1 for a touchdown. Look for him to be reading the eyes of Jake Fromm.
But if you want intensity, look no further than Mike Bernier. The Iron Bowl last week, his first punt, he yelled, "Let's go," and flexed after that. And his next punt was blocked by Auburn, and the Tigers made it a close Iron Bowl after all. All right, on the other side, Kirby Smart. Hey, it was in the SEC championship game last year where they avenged their only loss from the season. Now they try to avenge what happened the last time they were here.
Well, Kirby has talked about being a player, playing in big-time games, and now being a coach in some big-time ball games. He said he was more nervous as a player than he is as a head coach. The closer they get the ball game, the more those nerves ease.
Jake Fromm is a surgeon, guys. He just takes what they give you. Jim Chaney knows exactly when to take shots down the field, and he's got a nice group of receivers to pick from. Here's our X factor. Remember, they played against Georgia Tech last week. That means they had to practice triple option. Don't be surprised if we see it today.
And we discussed this tandem of a backfield, Elijah Holyfield and DeAndre Swift. These guys are outstanding. Before you get going, they gone. They run with power. They got some wiggle to them, and then they can just outrun the entire defense. This is a two-tackler football league here in the SEC. Not one guy, not one arm is going to bring these guys down. They have been just superb.
Thunder and lightning. Isaac Nada, 25 catches on the year. He's the go-to guy in 2-minute drives. Should it come down to that, keep your eye on 18. That's where Fromm will have his eye. Here's the guy who takes the top off it, Mecole Hardman. He is a speedster. He'll be the guy they're trying to go downtown with. He's also the math receiver, meaning if there are 2 in the box, they'll give it out to him and make some plays. Riley Ridley, his brother, Calvin Ridley, was on the other sideline. Riley's a big receiver, takes as much pride in blocking as he does with his 8 touchdown catches.
Well, Mel Tucker leads this defense. There are a lot of rumors swirling that Mel Tucker may be leaving to take over that Colorado job. Folks at Colorado said, nah, maybe not. We'll see what happens. But I do know this defense is playing much, much better, only allowing 17 points per game. Their last 4 to 5 games, they have won by 17 or more, and one of the main reasons is because of this defense. Jonathan Ledbetter, we've talked about him a lot, a tenuous beginning to his career here at Georgia, and yet the young man has become one of the elite leaders on this football team, and he expected to be back here in this game versus Bama.
J.R. Reed, one of the stalwarts in the defensive secondary of Georgia. They're going to have to do a great job. We all talked about Tua incessantly. They're going to have to do a great job of
Here
covering.
is your clutch guy. He's the guy that put the Dogs on top in overtime last year in the national championship with a 51-yarder. Had that 55-yarder to make it a 2-score game against the Sooners in the national semifinal last year. Quickly, you mentioned Mel Tucker, but Mike Locksley, the Alabama offensive coordinator, also some reporting out there that he would be in place to take over at Maryland soon. But that's something Nick Saban's gotten very used to. Let's check in again with our man Aaron Murray down on the field. Hey, Aaron, both teams are out there now. Pads are on. Uniforms are on. Which team is looser right now?
I think both teams are, and we were talking with a couple of the coaches before the teams were warming up. I said, hey, hey, what's the mood like right now? How was practice all week? Georgia coach is saying, hey, listen, we had our best walkthrough of the season yesterday before this game right now. Guys are loose. They're focused. They're zoned in. You can see it right now, the way they're out there executing just one-on-ones, routes on air. The linemen look great. And then for Alabama, the same thing. Coaches feel very confident. Great week of practice. The guys are zoned in and ready to go. So I wouldn't say either team's too scared or nervous. I think both teams are right where they need to be, about 30 minutes before kickoff.
Hey, Aaron, I hate to be the skunk at the garden party, but you lost to Alabama in this very SEC championship game. Didn't get a second bite at that apple. Jake Fromm is allowed one. What would you tell him? What would be your advice to the young man as he tries to go about exacting some revenge on Bama?
I would tell Fromm just to do what he's been doing since his freshman year. I mean, the kid prepares harder than anyone else. He's in the film room, making sure I don't get knocked out here on the field. He's ready to go. There's no question about it. His preparation and what he does Monday through Friday is some of the best work you'll see in all of college football. So go out there and execute. Have fun. Don't be scared of the moment. Listen, he's won the Rose Bowl, almost won the Natty. He's won an SEC championship game. He's done it all, man. So I think he's ready to go.
Aaron, both these coaches are defensive guys. They're going to try to confuse the opposition's quarterback. Which side of this equation do you think does the better job of confusing the opponent quarterback?
It's going to be interesting with Mel Tucker and Georgia's defense. Do you want to sit back, or do you want to pin your ears back and go after Alabama? Do you want to say, hey, if we're going to win this game, we got to make something happen. We got to put pressure on Tua. So I could see the Georgia side kind of messing around a little bit. And then Alabama defensively, we know it. They're too good. They're too talented. They like to sit back, play a lot of man-to-man coverage.
Hey, Aaron, where was your head at, I wonder, with about 30 minutes to go? You know what? Don't answer that. I want to know where your head was at with about 5 minutes to go. And we're going to check in with you a little bit later as Nick Saban continues to check on his guys and the fans get pumped for this one to start. Now, Coach Saban knows a thing or two about championship performances, and he's a master at always trying to find an edge. So what's better than having one champion try to talk up and motivate your young group of champions?
Every time my goal plays, I represent. I represent the state just like y'all represent. So when y'all knock people out, I'm knocking them out too. I'm matching. Like I said, we work together. When y'all winning, I'm winning. And I tell you one right now, I'm going to continue to win. I knock them out, so do you. And it's going to be just like that. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much.
And you can see WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder defend his crown against Tyson Fury tonight on Showtime pay-per-view. That is after the SEC championship game. Maybe Georgia could have Evander Holyfield deliver their message if need be. We are almost exactly a half an hour away from kickoff, and we'll be back with more State Farm College Football Today.
State Farm College Football Today is sponsored by Zaxby's. Friends, family, flavor, indescribably good. Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. And by State Farm. Here to help life go right.
Welcome back to State Farm College Football Today. As we approach kickoff here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, everyone getting in their places. About 20 minutes until kickoff as we get set for Georgia and Alabama, and going to be over 70,000 in those stands today. The players are out on the field behind us now. One of them we know is going to be in the college football playoff. How do you reconcile the status of this game, the SEC championship, especially this year, with the idea that you could lose this game and still make the college football playoff, perhaps?
Well, I don't know if you can, but the committee has found ways to do exactly that. They did it a year ago, and when we were under the previous system, the BCS system, they did the same thing. I like to think there's a natural progression. Win your conference, and then you get a chance to play for a national title. Others see it differently. Clearly, Alabama has proven in both occasions that they were worthy of playing in the title game.
It's not the committee's fault that their charge was to pick the best four teams. And the best 4 teams are decided upon over the breadth of the season, right? It doesn't make sense to eliminate somebody just because they lost on this particular Saturday as opposed to one over the course of the season when that's the case. And I know we'd all like to see it all be decided on the field, but we don't have the wherewithal to do that until we expand the playoff.
Well, the committee has been hypocritical because they told the Big 12, well, you don't have a conference championship game way back when they snubbed TCU and Baylor, and now they're saying the conference championship game doesn't matter. Make up my mind.
And Oklahoma, last I checked, is up double digits right now on Texas, and so an Oklahoma win, they're going to go to the
news, Adam.
Yeah, sorry, they would go to their locker room, get showered up, and root for Alabama.
They have served notice to Georgia. They have served notice to Ohio State. You better put on a show because we just did in Dallas.
Well, I wouldn't. Okay, yeah, they put on a show. Thanks. Hey,
I'm not saying Texas was a worthy opponent.
Oklahoma wins, and they're in, and it looks like they're going to be in.
Hey, as long as your horns are still up, BJ. I mean, you. Horns up, man. All right.
Always.
The players are heading off the field. When we return, a look at one of the pillars of this Alabama defense, Quinnen Williams. This is the 69th meeting in this series that dates back to 1895. Alabama has won the last 4, including the greatest one of them all, the overtime thriller in the national championship game last year. So Georgia and Bama fans have traveled here to Atlanta for today's SEC championship game, with Dog Nation braving the elements while Roll Tide is rolling inside with hopes of bigger and more impactful games to come.
I'm Ross Pierce-Baker, University of Alabama, play center. I'm afraid of heights. I've got 5 sisters. My favorite candy is Reese's. Anything with chocolate peanut butter I love. The shoes that I'm wearing right now are really tight on my feet.
I'm with him on those heights, man. Keep me on the ground.
When your shoes are tight, you can't think of anything else in 20 seconds.
If your shoes are tight, you don't have to worry about heights because you're not going anywhere.
Hey, that's the modern-day quarterback right there, the center, fellas.
Yeah, and he's going to be looking to get Alabama to even more heights before this season is over. Now, on the other side of the ball for Alabama is the anchor to Nick Saban's stellar defense. Quinnen Williams, motivated by the challenge to best his brother and inspired by the lessons of his late mother, is quickly becoming one of the slickest defensive linemen in the game.
I was really nervous coming in. I was small. I was like 255, 260, kind of slim. So I played defensive line, so I knew I had to really bulk up. They just transformed my body into what you see today, like a 6'4", 295 pound defensive nose guard.
Jonah Williams, the All-American left tackle for Alabama, said about Quinnen Williams, he's like trying to block a 300-pound bar of soap.
It was kind of funny at first, because I'm like, a bar of soap? Like, yeah, all the things. I could have been a beast. Like, I could have been like a monster, but he said a 300-pound bar of soap.
That's slippery. Very slippery.
My big brother, he's immersed there now. He would never tell me how good I am.
I mean, it's my little brother, so I treat him like my little brother. The biggest thing is we're very, very competitive. During the LSU game, fourth quarter, I seen he was kind of winded.
He texted me after the game, was like, out of all I did LSU game, he texted me at the end, was like, bro, you got to get in shape.
I critiqued him on it, and I was like, yeah, you got kind of winded in the fourth quarter.
I was like, bro, I had like 4 sacks.
He was out of the game a few times. Those are times that you could be in the game making big plays right there for your team.
Knowing he said that, knowing that, like, other people seen it also, I took myself upon, like, bro, I got to get in shape. You know what I'm saying? So I can play 60 minutes, full speed.
My son, Quincy, and Quinnen, they're very close. That's the way me and my wife wanted it. She taught them well, made them be very humble, made sure they was in church, and
my mom, she had passed away from breast cancer. She left us with a great foundation. She taught us, me and my brothers, many things like hard work. She stressed education because she was a school teacher.
everything she instilled in us, now it's time to show her. Now it's time to prove to her. And we thought we had to make her proud of everything we do. So football was our way to escape for everything. So the hurt that we had, the heart that we had, we took it out on defense, and we became the best players possible for her.
She always stressed being a great person, having great character, great humility, always being humble. So I see a lot of that stuff in myself. And like with all the fame coming right now, I have to remember stuff my mom taught me about. Use your platform that you have now to benefit others before you benefit yourself.
What a great game Quinnen Williams is playing here tonight.
Family first, and some big numbers for Quinnen Williams. And BJ, you were saying it earlier. There he is, flexing that soap, but he really exploded on the scene.
Well, he's a testament to the development that takes place at the University of Alabama. The better part of getting off a block is how you take on a block. He's as fierce as they come attacking offensive linemen.
And fellas, do you think parenting matters? I mean, what a great job by the Williams. I remember in recruiting when I'd get on the phone, if someone didn't know where the young man was, I was a little bit concerned. I guarantee you everybody knew where Quinnen was.
Right. Yeah, and bound together, of course, by the loss of his mom. He's a Nagurski finalist for the Defensive Player of the Year to be awarded Monday night in Charlotte. And now Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans presents its 2018 SEC Scholar Athletes. Throughout the year, Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans has been committed to the investment of our future, shown today by donating $1,000 to each of the 14 SEC schools' general scholarship funds in honor of the scholars you see on your screen for their accomplishments in the classroom, the community, and on the field of play. Great job by each of them. All right, we are getting closer and closer to kickoff, under 20 minutes away. We will be back with predictions when State Farm College Football Today returns. And welcome back to State Farm College Football Today. The band is on the field. Under 17 minutes to go until kickoff between Georgia and Bama. But they're not the only SEC teams in action. South Carolina, they booked this gig with Akron thinking they might need it for a bowl game. 28-3, they get it done. Will Muschamp against his old boss, Terry Bowden.
Akron,
Oklahoma.
Northwestern.
Oklahoma, Big 12 champs for the 4th straight year, putting pressure on Ohio State tonight, putting pressure, of course, on Georgia as if there wasn't enough already. 39-27. All right, we thought we'd get this matchup. We've known we were going to get it now for about a month. It is time for predictions. Who wins? Bama, Georgia. Rick.
Georgia's running game is going to be strong today. Tosh Lupoy, the defensive coordinator for Alabama, hasn't seen the challenge that he's going to see today. I like this offense, but I'm going to lean Alabama 42-35 in an offensive type of a contest.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Georgia has more than enough offense to hang with Bama. The question mark, do they have enough defense? And we've already discussed the lack of sacks and pressure they've applied against opposing teams. I think Bama wins 33-24.
All right, let's see if we're going to get straight A's and go down to Aaron Murray amidst the Georgia band.
I know. I think I'm going to get jumped, fellas, by the band right now. I love my dogs, but Alabama's really darn good. I got Alabama win this game 35-24.
Oh.
Hey, you might not see me after this right now.
They can't hear you. I don't think they can hear you. There are 3 A's in Aaron Murray, by the way. So maybe
He's a brave man, if not very smart.
Amazing. All right, number 1, Alabama. Number 4, Georgia are moments away from crowning a new SEC champion and capping off a memorable season where many games that came down to the final seconds were determined by a defining moment and in many cases a lasting memory. So enjoy some of the images from another remarkable SEC season.
They throw it to the left side, off the hands. This time it is picked off the tip. Pick 6, Georgia. Touchdown, Bulldogs.
He's hit as he throws and flutters.
They're saying it's a live ball. Touchdown,
Kentucky. It's over.
Fair caught at the 10-yard line.
They geeked him. He's running free up the far sideline. Touchdown.
And a shocked Razorback Stadium.
They snap it back, pick it up. Got it! Parker White just knocked it through.
Fromm swings it far side and intercepted. A true win. They send the Bulldoggies back to Athens.
Terry Wilson. He's going to throw. Conrad! Touchdown! Kentucky!
point victory, Kentucky!
DeAndre Swift, and he's got the first down, and he's got a bunch more to the house. Touchdown.
The Dogs have made it 2 in a row as they start thinking about Kentucky next week.
And now DeAndre Swift breaks it again all the way.
The Dogs will take the SEC Eastern Division Championship. Tagovailoa flushed out of the pocket. He'll run with it. He's got the first down and more. Touchdown, Alabama.
Alabama shuts out LSU tonight.
We're the West champs. We're heading to Atlanta.
Guarantano back to throw. Fires it long for the end zone. The pass in the end zone's going to be caught. It's going to be caught for a Tennessee touchdown. Whoa!
Kellen throws to the end zone for Kendrick Rogers. He caught it! He caught it anyway! That's a touchdown, Kendrick Rogers! Kellen stops, fires back over the middle, ties a conversion, and the Aggies win 74-72. Tagovailoa going long. Judy's got it. Touchdown. A perfect regular season for Alabama. And an Iron Bowl number 83 that goes the way of the Tide.
There is one more memory in store for either Alabama or Georgia this afternoon. Brad, Gary, and Jamie with the call after this message and a word from your local station.
Coached by Kirby Smart. On defense.
You have been watching State Farm College Football Today on CBS.